Jill, Lily. I'm here with my sister Jan. We are the Bar Two Sisters, and we both enjoy cooking quite a bit. I am a lifelong resident of State College for the most part. I've had a couple forays outside of State College for a year or so, but pretty much my heart and roots are here in State College in the Center region. So today we're making Strata Milano with Gorgonzola, which is a savory breakfast casserole. Jan had shown you a sweet casserole making French toast, and mine is a little more hearty. It's a great recipe for tailgating, if you have company coming in, or just to add to your family repertoire. So let's get started. We're going to start by taking 2 pieces of bacon, which we have cooked crisp, and crumble them into a bowl. So,
how big do you want the pieces?
It doesn't, it's, you know, I try to get them somewhat small just because they distribute better over the casserole instead of biting into a big clump. But it's...
You could probably add more bacon too.
You could probably add. Now, I got this recipe from Cooking Light magazine. So you will see as we go through here that many of the ingredients are low fat, and that's meant to save on those calories. So that's why there isn't a lot of bacon that's used in here, but just enough to add a good taste to it.
I have it on good authority from a certain judge in Belfont that bacon is a vegetable.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a surprise to me. So to our crumbled bacon, we're going to add 1 cup and 3/4 of Roma tomatoes, Italian tomatoes. I would say 3 large tomatoes should pretty much, that's what I used in here. So we're going to add that to the bacon. In addition to the tomato, we're going to add 1 cup of finely chopped red onion. I might have gotten a little bigger bowl. Thank you. And
is that about 1 big red onion?
It's not quite.
About a half.
Yeah, I would say it's about a half. Yep. And then to that, we're adding some dried rosemary, 1.5 teaspoons of dried rosemary. I kind of crunch it in there, break it up a little bit. We're going to mix up that concoction and set it aside. You know, the nice thing about breakfast casseroles is, and I think Jan mentioned this, you can get very creative. There's no set formula that you have to use. You do start with bread, eggs, and milk. But other than that, you can switch out the bacon for ham or sausage. You could add mushrooms to this, although I think I would probably cook the mushrooms ahead so that they get watery. They release a lot of liquid. So that's nicely stirred up, and we're going to set that aside. Yep. Okay, next up we need to add to this bowl 5 eggs. So we're going to just drop those in there. For now, we'll just put them down the garbage disposal. So I'm just going to beat those lightly to break them up. And then we're going to add, I've already measured it out, 3 1/4 cups of low-fat milk. And again, I mentioned this is from a Cooking Light recipe. So they're very focused on keeping this as low-cal as possible. It's not low carb, but it is lower cal. And I believe they felt that you could get 10 slices out of one casserole, one 9x13 pan. So we're mixing the milk in with the eggs. And then to that, we're going to add a low-fat ricotta cheese.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. And while Jan's filling that up, we're going to put a cup of that in here. I'm going to measure out a half of a cup of Gorgonzola cheese crumbles. You could use another blue cheese if you wish. Gorgonzola certainly has a nice flavor to it. You know, I am not a huge fan of blue cheese, but I do enjoy it. In this recipe, it gives it a little zing, and I think it kind of makes it. So we're just going to dump the blue cheese and the ricotta cheese into our mix and whip it up. Okay, so we're whipping this up, making sure that the ricotta is incorporated. The crumbles of blue cheese will stay intact pretty much. But that looks pretty good. So we're going to put that aside for a second and get out our 9x13 pan. We're going to either spray it or grease it with Crisco or something else. I usually use spray. And you want to hand me the, thank you. This was a loaf of sourdough bread, 16 ounce. And what you will want to do is cut it up into about 1-inch slices and toast it.
That one.
This is a little thinner. This came pre-sliced.
Oh.
And I couldn't get regular. So this is a little thinner than I usually use. But we're going to add the toast to our pan, covering the bottom as much as possible.
Did you just toast that in the oven, or did you stick it in the toaster individually?
I did
for
both.
Over 20 minutes.
Yeah, I did both. Actually, I put one tray in the oven, and the other tray or not tray, but I have a 4-slice toaster, and I use that also. So we have the bottom of our casserole pan covered. We're now going to take our tomato bacon mix, and I need a spoon. Thank you. And we're going to distribute that evenly over the top. Half of it will go on here. You want each of these ingredients in each bite that you're taking. Okay, so we have about half of the tomato mixture spread across our toast in the pan. You know what I forgot? 2 things, not just one. But in our egg mix over here, we need to add a teaspoon of salt and a half of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So thankfully, I remembered that in time. So we'll just mix that in. That adds a little more zip to the casserole. Okay, I think that's good. Now, we'll take the ladle and ladle half of it. Remember, we put down roughly half of the bread or the toast, half of the tomato mixture, and now we're adding about half of the egg and milk mixture. One more. That looks good. All right, and then we repeat. So we're putting back another layer of toast. Try something different here. Because these are sliced a little thinner, they're getting more slices to the, actually I'm gonna put that in there. More slices to the loaf. Kind of sneak that in. Doesn't have to be picture perfect. There. And then we spread the other half of our tomato mixture on top. Smells good. I smell those onions. And I love rosemary. Okay. I think we're good. And so last but not least is the rest of our egg and milk mixture. Try to ladle that on there. You can see the chunks of blue cheese are still easily seen on here.
Yeah, if you like Gorgonzola, you could probably sprinkle a little on the top.
You very well could.
Which
Yep.
I like Gorgonzola.
So you would add to it, huh?
I might.
Yum, yum, yum. This is something that you would want to make ahead. It needs to, after we have this all assembled, it needs to be refrigerated either overnight or for a minimum of 8 hours. Okay, so we have that. Last but not least, we're adding 2 tablespoons of grated fresh Parmesan cheese. We're gonna sprinkle that on there. And we also have some paprika that we're going to add 2 teaspoons of paprika. So there is the
And for anyone who might be
Parmesan?
nervous about putting a cold glass pan in the oven, as long as you keep the temperature about 350 degrees. If it's too hot, you could crack the pan, but 250, 275 should be okay. If there's any worries there.
So this is my 2 teaspoons of paprika that we're putting on top. And then we are going to cover this with some aluminum foil. Okay, our casserole is now covered and we're going to pop it into the refrigerator, as I said, for 8 hours or overnight. And then we'll bake it off. So, the next day, we have popped our casserole into the oven, uncovered. We take off the aluminum foil, so you're baking it uncovered for 45 minutes or until it's set. If you kind of jiggle it to see if everything's set and not loose. Let's take a look. Looking good. It's nice and firm. And here we have Strata Milano with Gorgonzola. Bon appetit.